Slowly at first, but with creeping regularity, the wet space was filled with more occupants. Each one sought the other out until all were indistinguishable from one another. As time passed, it became as one, and the space allocated for it was no longer adequate to accommodate something of its size. It sought freedom, and yet freedom was not forthcoming, for the door to the outside was firmly shut. For what seemed like an eternity, it languished in solitude, deficient of daylight. Minutes turned to hours, and hours turned to days, and yet still it was confined, unable to be freed. It wriggled and writhed in its narrow abode, even going so far as to scrape against the side of the fleshy walls to let its jailer know it was there, but to no avail. Silence greeted its efforts, and so it retreated once more where it was briefly forgotten. Chemicals of unknown origins were placed over it like a recipient of unwanted experimentation. It burned and invoked much discomfort, but seemed to do no lasting damage, despite the pain it clearly caused. Without the desired effect, the chemicals ceased coming, and for the moment, it was spared further pain. Late into the night, and the prison shook violently. Its walls distorted, and a great pressure was building. Escape seemed possible, and so it made its way once more towards the exit and waited. It did not have to wait long until the doorway opened and it was ejected at speed. The exit way was not sufficient for something of its size to pass easily, and so during its departure, its bulk prized the gap open further, which caused the walls to rip and tear, until finally it tumbled briefly in the outside, until it was cruelly deposited amongst a large body of water, where it tried in vain to stay afloat. This was hampered by cascading white sheets, which lay atop the surface like a funeral shroud. Without knowing what was happening or what was to come, the water level rose with a torrent of gushing blue water, which forced it deeper into this coloured liquid. It was not long before the deafening sound subsided and it aimed for the surface like a diver coming up for air. It broke the surface of the water and bobbed upon it, yet the ordeal was far from over. The noise once again built in volume, and the gushing blue water returned with more power, forcing it even deeper below. Up was down, and down was up as it spun its way towards an unknown destination. For what felt like an age, this continued until finally it fell once more and landed with a splash. It rose to the surface to the sound of seagulls and boat horns. Water extended in all directions, and it could go in either. Finally, the turd was free.